Welcome back, heroes. We return to our group as they leave Bridgewalk for the first time in many a session and head towards the Doomridge to the south. The characters are going to head through the Goryal Pass, which is a place filled with spiders and other dangers. But first, I would like to ask you, if you're enjoying our content, please go ahead and give us a like and subscribe. We really appreciate it. And remember, do try this at home. As the characters walk out, Prongor is going to look over towards the boar beetle. Quite a handsome creature, isn't it, Master?
Isaac ponders for a moment, and then he looks from Prongor to the beetle and then back and says, "It is quite majestic, isn't it?"
Out of pure curiosity, how close was I? Could I hear that comment?
Yeah.
She goes, "That's quite a nice gloss to its shell."
What does its shell look like? Is it like chromatic and colorful, like some beetles, or is it just like black and glossy?
Black.
Okay.
Yeah. It's got some hairs coming out of it.
Yeah.
Like between the shells, like, or
Yeah,
hairs
it's
on
like
the
boar
shell.
hair, like made out of the shell.
Okay.
Yeah.
Man, this thing is crazy.
Is Annalise joining the group?
Does Annalise want to join the group?
Do you hate Annalise?
Well, no. It's up to her.
She's the tiefling fencer, right?
No. Oh, question. There is no tiefling fencer,
That was
first
Western.
off.
She's not a
Western.
tiefling. She's a
Yeah.
human.
No, Annalise is the other godmother.
Wait, Western was a human?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally the whole time.
Mm-hmm. She was the one who was one of the families
Yep.
in Selnox.
Uh-huh.
Oh, I assume she was a tiefling this whole time.
No, tieflings ousted the non-tieflings.
Yep.
That was
Okay.
part of the
That's
plot.
probably why she doesn't
I
like it that
remember
much.
the plot with her
It's the
family.
racism.
I remember the plot with her family. I always assumed
Yeah,
she was a
she's
tiefling.
not a tiefling. She's a
Okay.
human. The whole family are humans.
Wow, tieflings were kind of dicks,
Oh,
weren't
yeah. A lot of them are awful.
they? Yeah.
So is she coming?
She's
She
kinda-
says, "You guys are coming back?
I mean, yeah.
Yes.
I'm going to deal with some of the issues here in the city, and then I'll go. Once you guys get on the ship."
I see. Do me a favor. She gives the plans to Annalise.
You want me to oversee the creation of your destructive cannon?
Yes. Make sure they don't screw up any of my details.
All right.
Euphemia will have to break it to Clevie as well that he is staying with Triss. Could she have
He is
arranged-
pouting when you leave.
Okay. I was gonna say, could she have arranged it all with the Queen for him to do something there?
What would you have me do with him?
Where are you?
I'm not here.
What was the group of
The black one?
She would ask if as a favor, if there was any way any of them would be willing to kind of like squire him or mentor him.
Take him on a ride along.
Clebe seems to be rather attracted to the back of a drake. Are you sure it is wise for him to squire for 2 weeks or so underneath one of the Blackwing? If you plan on taking him again to leave to the sea.
And yet it would be selfish of me to limit his chances because I want him with me always.
I do not have children, Miss Carr. I cannot answer the question for you.
I think he needs this chance.
Then he shall have it. Falling Rain has already requested that if Clebe does make that decision, that he would like to squire him.
She nods.
Should be an easy fit. Clebe's no longer sulking when you leave.
What about Western?
She left.
When did she leave?
She left after her big scene with Isaac and with Euphemia.
I don't believe I was here for
You
that.
literally were not. You were sick.
Okay,
Yeah.
that explains why I didn't realize she was gone. Is Faylene riding with us, or is she going elsewhere?
Faylene is going straight back to the east, to the
Okay.
west.
I didn't know if she was going our route or if she was taking another. Okay, but Red is with us, right?
Correct.
And every other member of your crew besides Triss are coming, correct?
And Cleby.
Well, yes. Well, that was already stated.
Right.
Yes. That would be the plan, unless they were vehemently opposed for some reason. But I don't think any of them would be.
All right. Mama. Mama, you pick me up. I whisper secret.
She picks him up.
Mama, I want to learn to use knives.
Okay.
Okay, I ask a knife elf.
Yes. What?
I ask a knife elf.
Oh. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. I don't picture you as a full elf, so that never works for me. She goes, okay.
Okay.
You have to
set me
follow
down now.
his instructions exactly, and his rules.
Okay, I follow his rules, which means I follow no rules.
She gives him a droll look.
Walks is getting an attitude.
He goes, I just kid. You let me down.
She puts him down.
Okay. Knife elf.
Wait, Walks doesn't even have hands, right?
He's got a beak.
He has feet.
Hey, knife elf. You see me?
Yeah, man, what's up? He's just sitting on Shadow.
Knife elf.
Knife elf. You teach me how to wield sword?
I'm not sure you're strong enough for that, man. Just because you're so small.
That is problem with your training.
He's like really trying to picture and think about how this might work.
Dude! It's growing up. Oh, you technically actually already rolled.
I'm trying to think of how I could show you how to do anything and it just doesn't translate.
He goes,
So disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed.
he's going to pick up a stick and he's going to hold it under his wing. And then he's going to like run up to you and like use his wing to like push it forward and like stab your armor.
Yeah, he's just going to tap it out of his arm.
All right. He goes flying. But before it lands, he goes doof and catches it.
You see what I'm saying, man?
He's going to like flex his wing. He goes, maybe different weapon.
She will walk up to you and go, perhaps you could do something that would enable his claws and beak to attack.
Yeah, I mean, he's got weapons on him already.
Johnny is going to scoop up a surprised Walks and whisper something into his ear. Walks is going to like look back at her surprised, and then she's going to set him down and come forward. Perhaps Walks could just watch our sword training while you show me that training that you said you would on the boat.
Yeah. Okay.
She nods.
We can figure out something for you to do, man.
Zarfen is going
His
to come up
brain's
behind
just-
you, and you're going to see him sort of narrow his eyes in Johnny's direction.
Insight?
Yeah, go ahead.
Do I have advantage on him?
Yes.
26.
Dang.
What the hell?
All right.
Hilariously, if you add them together, it's also 26.
There is a moment where Zarfen is clearly going to like look down at Juniper and sees you looking at him. And then he's going to like sort of try to shrug it off like nothing happened. But then because of the way he shrugs it off, you know that it is something. So you sort of like touch him lightly, and then he realizes that you know what he knows. And then he turns back around, realizing he already lost. And he's going to lean down and whisper, I don't know, just a feeling. Something. Have you ever felt the light of heaven before?
She goes, you know I have.
Do you feel any of it in Jania?
Attempt to?
What?
Go ahead and roll a religion check, please.
This will be fun. 15.
15. You are fairly sure that Zarafen's sensitivity to the light of heaven will be much greater since he has lost it. His body drinks the light of heaven, and when he's saturated with it, he's an angel. When he has become desaturated, he falls because of Asimar. He should be able to feel like a moth drawn to the flame, light of heaven right now, much more sensitively than he previously did. You don't feel anything in Jania. At least enough to, like, give you pause.
She goes,
You feel more like the sunlight than you feel her.
she goes, I am not as sensitive as you are to that.
Maybe
What are you
Roland
thinking?
is. He says, Zarafen is going to step up to you as Jania goes to walk away. You will overhear Zarafen say, Roland, while, if you're going to show Jania how to wield a sword, have you ever tested for aptitude in the paladin arts?
Never occurred to me.
You've never tested another squire? He says.
I'm not
Or
even
a cleric?
remotely surprised.
No.
Okay. He's going to kind of like, I think maybe Isaac would be more adept to this. He says he's going to kind of pat you on the shoulder a little bit.
It's okay, you fight things good.
She says, can you use this to resonate?
He says, I think if you bring that near me, it's going to cloud all my judgment.
There. She sticks it back into her dress.
Then he's going to kind of like turn, and then he's going to sort of like, you know what? I think you probably need to learn how to do this anyway. He's going to turn back towards you.
Ask you.
Isaac could have done it in 5 minutes.
Damn!
I'm just saying,
Lay it on
like,
thick. He's going to turn towards you, and he's going to roll a religion check. You roll a religion check as well. Both of you need to beat a DC 12 in order for you to successfully understand what he's asking you to do.
Okay.
Hey, nice.
you killed it.
21.
So, when you lay on hands, you draw the inner light of heaven to your hands.
Mm-hmm.
He wants you to basically, either asking or subtly do so, draw any light of heaven in Jania to the surface, which would allow you to measure the degree with which she has light of heaven in her. Certain people are born with aptitudes to draw more light of heaven into themselves. Everybody needs some from the sun to live. Mm-hmm. It's sort of what people have evolved to do. But other people who are able to become paladins and clerics are able to draw more. The more you're able to draw, paladins are able to draw less than clerics are. But paladins are able to wield the light more as a weapon than clerics are. Clerics are able to cast, like, morph it with magic into spells. He is secretly, currently, believing that Jania might have an aptitude to have a paladin's level of light of heaven in her. But he needs to subtly test it so that she doesn't gain any weird ideas about it.
That's why I was gasping, because I knew that's what that meant.
Okay, when you gasped, I had, like, my heart just dropped. It's like, oh my god, what
That was a
happened
good
to
guess.
her?
Because,
What
like,
is
Jania
it?
as a
What does it
paladin would
mean?
be super badass.
Yeah.
She would fit the vengeance one, for sure.
Doesn't she use
Yeah,
a hammer?
I can try.
Yes.
Okay.
I don't think she'll even notice.
Be a total fit.
He nods. He's going to kind of look over at you, and you gain that he's trying to say anything without saying anything.
Mm-hmm.
You're gaining... He's trying to gauge how much you think this is going to go well.
What, him doing it or John being a
Yeah,
power?
the first one.
Oh. She thinks he can do it.
Okay. Then he looks confident. He's going to say...
he's weird sometimes, but he's completely competent at what he does, so she's no problem with that.
Hey.
That's something I'd expect you to say about Isaac, but not Roland. He's weird sometimes, but he's competent at what he does.
Actually, no. June actually feels... well, you don't know, so you
I
wouldn't...
don't know.
See, that's how I think about you.
Yeah, see? That's how most people think about Isaac.
You're not that weird, actually.
Yeah, June actually doesn't find you to be
I think you
weird.
guys have been desensitized to it as we've traveled together.
He literally
June's
carries
jaded
around
when
his
it comes to
skeleton
weird.
guy.
I
be
know,
honest.
but
Yeah,
like,
that makes sense
used to
to
him
me.
now.
You guys are all
Where's
so
the
freaking
skeleton?
normal, she doesn't know what to do with herself.
Yeah.
I think all of you are weird, except for you, really. You're the most normal person in the group.
That's probably fair.
But he's
Papa.
super desensitized to weird.
Papa.
Oh, yes.
Oh. Walks? What is it?
Papa, you teach me magic?
I would be delighted to.
Okay, good. Thank you. He's going to walk away.
Are we making a supervillain?
As he walks away, Isaac is like, later, I guess. And he's going to go back to what he was doing.
Master, can you teach the bird magic? His little tiny fingers able to make spellcraft.
Given everything else Walks can do, I wouldn't be surprised if he's able to conjure up something. And if he's not, then I'll make him think he can, just to make him happy.
Master, what if the bird is still possessed by darkness?
Good question. I don't think that's the case. I'm fairly certain we pulled out most of it when we were examining him with June.
As a foremost master of all things concerning darkness, Master, are you able to check in any way?
If I could get him to stand still long enough, I could do it in about a minute's time.
What if we held Klebe hostage? That would be a very easy way to get him to hold still, wouldn't it?
Let's keep that as our plan B. Don't keep it in
Take that
mind.
back to Plan D, maybe.
Yeah.
As we come up with more ideas, it'll slide backwards on the list.
He nods. I'm surprised you didn't bring the oaken bolter, Master. With the hills, we might have sailed a bolt far down.
Well, actually, I've been thinking about taking the oaken bolter and upgrading it so that one of us can ride atop it like a mount.
You know what I was thinking, Master? We need some sort of castle sieging creature for castles.
I have some ideas for you later.
See? For when we're overtaking castles in the future.
Yes.
Okay, what did you have in mind?
Well, I looked at the adamantine fortress, Master, and thought it would be difficult for Master Isaac to break into this place if we ever needed to.
It would?
So maybe some sort of adamantine smashing golem.
If I could get my hands on enough adamantine to do that, I would make one in a heartbeat.
I don't think adamantine is like diamond, Master. Adamantine cannot smash adamantine unless it is pushed with enough force. Is that correct? What we need is a potjack that we can control. Can we make some sort of brain harnessing energy
Doesn't
harness to put
everybody?
on potjack?
I like the reversal of what happened with Pot
His
Jack.
suggestion is ridiculous, but then
Wood
Isaac thinks
Wood
about
for it.
if that would even be possible.
You don't think you have the psionic knowledge to do
Okay.
anything like that?
He didn't think so.
Maybe a fated thing, you might be able to do it?
I'm sure it's possible, Prongor, but I think that may be a little bit out of my area of expertise. Because Isaac would subjugate Potjack in an instant if he could.
Damn.
So dark.
That's cold.
Maybe if we killed Potjack first and then I took his corpse.
But then his fate would be lessened like Fellows'.
You're right, we would just have his raw physical brawn left over, but his fate would be...
Killing Potjack would be quite difficult, Master.
Well, not to mention the consequences.
Consequences?
Well, you know his fate.
Oh, yes.
Whatever.
Yes, that would be bad.
Yes, it would.
I forgot about that one, Master.
I think about it every time Potjack comes up.
Juniper, Bali says.
Sorry, I was musing over ways in which we could use Podjack without having to use his fate. Sorry, she actually was sitting there listening to Euro's conversation, and she had a faraway thoughtful look on her face. But yeah, continue. She jerks around. Yes,
Dropping on everybody.
that's what she did. I was writing next to him!
If I can catch June's interest with anything, I consider that a success because she's like so different from us, I guess.
She jerks around. She goes, yes, Bali.
So you've been alive for a long time, right?
Yes.
Were you around in the days of piracy?
Does she know?
You have dropped innumerable hints.
Yes, but no, like specifically, I don't remember what exactly she knows. Because the group knows.
You specifically
that she's...
stated that you had been around during early bridge walk.
Yeah, okay. I said I was like a regular fairy.
Yes.
Okay,
I
sorry.
think Bali might be the only person who knows more than anybody else in the crew.
True,
I
because...
don't know what you're implying.
Yeah. She goes, what exactly are you implying? Or asking, I should say.
When we were going down the river towards the Crannock Lock, you had stated that you knew Talona Finkiller.
I did, yes.
Well, I believe you now.
She pauses briefly and then shrugs.
Could you tell me what she was like?
Out of game. Do you want me to do it, or do you want to?
There are a couple of traits that need to be there.
Okay, then I will allow you to do it, because otherwise I would just make something up. It would be fun.
Overarching, you know that she was a wild, untamable soul. Rather bold, sort of mildly, definitely beyond her time as far as like thinking outside the box of what was possible in early Mythia. Well, early Mythia. Never mind, late Mythia. But
Relatively
a little
recent,
while ago.
honestly. She wouldn't say that. She was like,
And as far as thinking beyond like racial biases, very open to character over skin.
okay.
But beyond that, go ahead.
Well, I mean, that would probably pretty much encompass it. Let's see. She'll tell a short anecdote of how she met her at a tavern in a halfling village near the Halfling Hills, originally.
Bali looks to be taking all that you say in very seriously.
All in all, she was a very interesting woman.
But how did she do what she did?
How does anybody do what they do?
Fate?
Fate always plays a role. I mean, it's kind of hard to get around that, but I think she was more than fate. She saw what she wanted to do and she went for it.
Talona's fate had nothing to do with her choices in life, basically.
No, but fate always impacts. It doesn't matter. Like, I mean, clearly her fate had nothing to do with what she did, but...
So then why did she do it?
Do I know that?
you know that she had resented the system that she grew up in. And she had wanted to destroy it, but been unable to do so. So she just worked outside of it.
Okay. I'm gonna go in that. She goes, she found her own way to fight. If you can't change something, sometimes you just have to go around it. I always admired that.
Was Josiah still on the throne back then?
It was well after Josiah, right?
It was.
Yeah, she goes, Josiah was on the throne quite a while before that.
Was he a big part of that? Her decision?
Yes.
She's going to look over towards Euphemia. Thanks, she says.
Of course.
What are you all talking about? I'm just curious. This is Tyler.
Oh, sorry. Talona Finkiller is Bali's ancestor. She's the former owner of her
The
headband.
bandana. That I have.
Okay.
And she's a big inspiration to probably particularly pirate ladies. She was a pretty incredible halfling pirate who was kind of like a more gallant version of a pirate. More.
She's the
A
early
rebel.
Yuffie.
Okay. So like, how long ago was?
A few hundred years, right?
2 generations back?
2 generations.
Yeah.
What, halfling generation, so
Yeah.
a few
So
hundred years.
long.
So what was the world like when she was?
It was Aragoth, so it was probably the same as it.
She came.
Aragoth
So
is
she
now.
came from Aragoth
She
too.
also came
It's
from
honestly
Aragoth.
not that different, right? From that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same king.
Despot.
Okay.
Evil
Brutally
bastard.
holding down the poor.
So she left Aragoth to become a pirate.
She did, didn't
Didn't
she?
she get free of Aragoth? I don't know.
It's
That's always a question.
so early on, which Josiah's reign is 15,000 years old.
How long have the pirates been a thing?
Well, pirates in general have been a thing
organized pirates.
for
Ronin.
Ronin, but Ronin is only a dwarf, and he's only about halfway through his life, and they live for what, like 400, 300 years?
Yeah. Right.
So is she part of
only-
the?
No.
she
Nothing to
wasn't
do
part
with
of
Ronin.
Any?
Nah, she was like
Any
the
of-
precursor.
She was a rogue.
Okay.
I mean, I don't mean that, you know what I mean.
Mhm, yeah.
Ha, ha.
I know.
She was probably, but she was
probably
also-
was, but
She
She
was
was almost
probably
certainly
the
the same
model
class
for
as
where
Yuffie.
Ronin was going. Ronin, God.
So she was part of the ecosystem that Ronin was able to civilize.
Tame, not civilized.
Yeah, but that, I mean, like
So
create a
it went-
organ.
It went like there were sea thieves,
Mhm.
and then Talona sort of came along and like created the idea of a pirate. Then a guy named Jordar Blackhand sort of like made a fleet and like raided the coastlines with
Yeah.
it in like a big like big threat way.
Yep.
And then that guy Tootled was the tutor to Ronin Ironhand.
Like,
He died a couple
better.
years ago.
And
But
then
Ronin
turned it into essentially a nation.
yeah, like he took a bunch of differing like fleets and took over all of them and put them.
You
under
see,
his
that's
care.
the coolest thing about him.
but his reign won't last forever.
Yeah, that's just the coolest thing about him. The fact that he created a nation out of nothing. It's so cool.
He's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I like history class,
Does
yo.
Yuffie have a good opinion of Ronin? Or is it more complex than good or bad?
I would say that for a period of time, he became his closest family to her.
Okay.
But that wouldn't necessarily be common knowledge.
So, how much of Talona's like widely known? Like, would this have been stuff?
She is a
She's
folk
a
hero
legend.
among halflings.
among halflings, or is it like a well-known thing? Like, would Roland have learned this stuff in school?
I would
at
say
all?
like a DC 17 history check to know Talona's history.
Yep. Nope. Never mind. Never heard of her.
You've probably heard the name and know she's a pirate. but that's
Definitely
about
have heard the name because it's been
Okay.
spoken on the ship, but
Whether or not you
Oh, okay. Cool.
Bali is going to say.
Well, I will say this. Can I interject that Roland did grab a bunch of Harper's books about pirates and stuff.
Then she definitely would have been in one of those.
Okay. So yeah, all right. I've
You're
heard
up to date.
I heard of her.
You got this.
She went from. She had an early name. It wasn't Finkiller. I can't remember exactly what it was now. It was something much more normal. But she took on the name Talona Finkiller. It said she slew 1,000 merfolks. She was considered the enemy of merfolk in her day.
But she had a merfolk person on her ship.
Crew, too.
As a crew. Yeah.
Very interesting. I don't know.
I think she was a pretty cool lady, honestly.
Yeah, I think she's a pretty cool lady now as well.
She made money collecting bounties on merfolk tribes. That's how she made her piracy.
Cool. All right.
And hence her bandana helps people murder merfolk. That's literally what it does.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Bali is going to look back towards Juniper.
No problem. She pauses and she goes, if you'll give me some time, I can dig up some of my records from that time, if you'd like. I'd have to edit them slightly, but...
Why would you need to edit them? She says.
Because they're my records.
Does that mean they're illegible?
Oh, no. They're perfectly legible.
Do you know anything about this Etu, the merfolk she traveled with?
Sorry. I just said Brute in my head. Yes, she would know about him as well.
So let's see if you know more than reputation. Go ahead and roll a check. Roll above a 12 on a d20.
Can't fail, I don't think.
No, just roll above a 12 on a flat d20 roll with no bonuses. This is not a skill. It's a luck.
Oh, son of a bitch.
11.
All right, you never personally met Etu.
But she has, like...
And go ahead and roll a history check
She
to
probably
see
has
what you know about
secondhand
him.
knowledge.
You have advantage, of course.
26. What's up with 26 today?
Yeah, goddamn. Okay.
It was not a crit, though, but it was close.
So you can determine how much of this to share. Some of this information is sensitive.
Okay.
Etu is the Empress's direct son.
Okay.
He was born immortal.
Okay. Is he still...
Chilling.
You don't know. You haven't heard from him since the days of
What was the
Talona.
last thing we've heard?
Talona went down when the Empress attacked her ship.
And he was loyal to Talona.
He betrayed his mother for her.
Okay. So it is quite possible that he was imprisoned. Things were done to him, probably.
Potentially.
She goes, to my knowledge, the last we've heard of him was when Talona's ship went down, but he was known to be immortal, and...
Immortal like to dying, or immortal like doesn't age?
Both, yes?
Not to weapons. He could die.
Okay. She goes, live till killed. And, well, he was the son of the Empress.
What?
She goes, I suppose that's not a well-known thing.
The son of the Empress? The Empress has, like, royal children?
Yes.
So he's like a prince of the merfolk?
He was, possibly is, yes. It's highly
Holy
likely
shit.
that he's been captured.
Are you hearing this? She says toward Euphemia.
Could Euphemia hear this?
If you say you did. I mean, Jennifer's not making an attempt to hide any of it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know where you're riding. I'm currently riding next to the Beatles. So probably not.
No. So she would have been riding next to Bali. Did Bali maybe like gesture her over if she was asking about Talona? She might have heard. She would have heard.
Why don't you roll?
Well, you'd
Fine.
probably be curious after Bali said, "You hearing this?"
Yes, she would be
Because
then.
Roland will also be curious as well at what everybody's talking about.
She
Totally
was
heard.
hearing this. She's heard the whole thing. Yes.
She goes, well, is the Empress, does that one change, or
What?
does the Empress change? Like, what do I know about the Empress? I can't remember.
No, it's the same Empress.
Since when?
Since, like, she has at least lived as long as Jasia has ruled.
Okay, not that one then. Okay. Just checking. She goes, to my knowledge, the Empress is at least as old as Jasia, so...
And what do they think may have happened to him? Any idea on his whereabouts? The Empress's son would have had amazing intel.
Yes, but considering where he went down and who did it, it's more than likely he was captured by his mother. He did betray her, after all.
I wonder if he's still down there.
Possibly, but Zatlaut's nearly impossible to get into.
That way, nearly impossible? I would have said definitely impossible.
Nothing's impossible.
How would one go about getting into Zatlaut?
If I really, really wanted to, I probably could, but I don't want to, ever.
But the pressure that deep is so harsh that it would crush you.
She kind of looks at it and goes, well, I've been to the bottom of the Miriam Strait. Is it the strait, the deep area? I can't remember what we called it.
No, I don't remember either.
She would say the actual name. There is an actual name. I just don't remember. She goes,
How deep is that in comparison to, like...
what, Zatlaut?
Yeah. Is it that much more severe than being at the bottom of the other parts of the ocean?
Well, the big problem with Zatlaut isn't so much the fact that its depth is so low. It's the fact that it is in the middle of the maelstrom.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes more sense to me.
I heard the maelstrom is made by two leviathans that curl around one another.
That's correct.
That's correct?
Well, actually, I think there's 3.
Fuck.
Euphemia is kind of laughing.
Admittedly, they're not
Bob's
just
reaction.
simple leviathans. They're also elemental leviathans.
What's an elemental leviathan?
They were affected by chaos portals, I believe.
Do you mean they've been combined and made into something new?
They were combined with elementals, yes.
Oh,
Aren't you glad you asked?
I don't know.
I strongly suggest not trying to go there.
Why do I feel like I always need a rest after talking to you? She says.
June just kind of blinks at her and goes, couldn't say.
Like you could go to June with like any folktale or legend and be like, "Is this real?" Like, "Oh yeah."
And she
Okay,
goes,
cool. I
well,
like that.
actually, they went like this.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. So, as you guys begin to near the Goryal Pass, the party must begin to deal with the treacherousness of that pass. So, journey to Doomridge. You guys are on a montage quest. The footpath to the Doomridge is through the Goryal Pass, full of spiders and rumored to be as large as a horse. Journey check, DC 16. Each party character may make 2 checks or offer 2 unique solutions that could reasonably be assumed to deal with the following issues. All other characters, NPCs, may aid in the checks if they could reasonably be assumed to be explicitly skilled in the task. Each party member faces a unique test of their abilities and must make a judgment call. The player describes a test that their character faces and, using the suggestions below, then rolls. That player either describes how their character overcomes the task or fails to do so. Each test that cannot be met in the check that the characters make they suffer the consequences of. So if you don't choose not to make one of these checks, then you will suffer the consequences. By the land path. So, tricky paths adds 2 days to the party's journey time if you fail. False treasure or rescue lures the party off the trail. And that one's the failure is each party member takes 1d10 plus 5 points of poison damage and becomes poisoned. Survive weather that turns harsh and freezing suddenly. The party takes 1d10 plus 5 cold damage, and the failing member gains a level of exhaustion. Avoid the territory of Yetis. The party takes 1d10 plus 5 slashing damage and 1d10 plus 5 cold damage and loses a hit dice. Quiet the angry dead. The party takes 1d10 plus 5 necrotic damage, and the failing member loses 3 hit dice. And avoid an avalanche caused by elementals. The party takes 3d10 bludgeon damage on a failure. So, each of you, there are 6 tasks here. Each one of you take 2 that you think your character would be decent in, and then tell me a check you would like to use to solve that problem, and how you would do so.
Wait, so there's 6 checks?
Tricky paths, false treasure, or rescue. Survive weather that turns harsh. Avoid the territory of a Yeti. Quiet the angry dead. Or avoid an avalanche. You get to choose 2 of those for your character. And then you choose what skills you would like to use to solve that problem. And explain to me how you do it.
Give me Quiet the Angry Dead.
Okay. I say Quiet the Angry Dead would work for me as well.
You have Turn Undead?
I have Turn the Unholy as well. So, I'll take Quiet the Angry Dead. What were the other ones?
Avoid the territory
Tricky
of
path, Yeti, avalanche, weather, big treasure, undead.
What's Tricky Path?
Tricky path is like you're gonna get lost. Because it's confusing.
So is that like a survival?
A survival check might work for that, yeah. Like
Okay,
as an example.
I'll take
or a perception check.
Gotcha. I'll take
Tricky paths?
Turn the Unholy and Tricky Paths.
Okay. Go ahead and write those down.
Paths. Perception check, you said?
That would, like, anything that would work reasonably for solving that issue.
What was the weather one, please?
Survive weather that turns harsh and freezing suddenly.
Suddenly?
Yeah, suddenly.
Okay.
And the false treasure one?
It's either you're lured off the path by false treasure or false rescue.
False rescue. You mean somebody indicating they're in distress?
Distress.
Yeah.
And then
So the spiders of the past can make moaning noises that sound like people.
That's so puzzling.
Would insight work for telling whether or not it was spiders or people?
See, that's a creative use of that to
Okay.
solve a problem. Yes, that would work.
I'll take that one.
Okay, so you take false treasure or rescue. And you said your other one was the dead.
Me and
So you have both of
Roland are
yours.
tag teaming the dead one, yeah.
All right, and then I need you to choose your other one.
I'm gonna take Tricky Paths also.
Okay, tricky paths. All right, so what are your 2?
Is everybody covered? Are they all covered?
No.
No, we're missing Yeti, avalanche.
Because I could take Avalanche or Yeti, possibly.
I could
If I needed
possibly
to.
do the Yeti one. Depends, like, in terms of, I mean, she doesn't know anything about, like, animals and such, but she can sneak pretty well to, like, check out a lair that they might see.
Because that also is Avalanche us getting caught in an avalanche.
It's avoid an avalanche caused by elementals. That's the framing.
Okay.
So, for instance, that could be roll athletics to run fast. That could be shout a warning with a intimidation check. That could be roll stealth to sneak past. Like, you can be creative with how you solve the problem.
I was thinking of using the edict on the Yetis, but then I realized they're probably way too uncivilized for that.
This official Goryal Pass allows us to leave.
I'll do Avalanche then.
Okay, so you're gonna do the avalanche, and you said quiet the angry dead, right?
Well, if I need to take one of the other ones, if nobody else is gonna take the Yeti one, I guess I'm gonna take the Yeti one too.
I've got the Yeti one as
You're
well,
gonna
so
take the
yeah.
Yeti one. Okay.
Be good for us to double up on that.
Wait, so hold on. So which one are you not taking then? You're not taking Tricky Path?
Yeah, he is not taking tricky paths.
Okay, so you're taking Yeti and you are as well?
And
I
which
know.
there's only 2 that are not taken right now, right?
There's only one that's
What's
not
not
taken.
taken?
One that's not taken, which is
Weather.
the weather.
And, well, avalanche.
Avalanche, I'm taking it.
Yeah, he's
I
taking
thought
it.
you were taking Yeti.
Change. I'm
You're
taking
killing me,
avalanche
dude.
and yet.
You're doing all this.
You're not doing undead now?
I'm not doing it.
You're killing me, dude!
Sorry, I stepped away from it when no one else was taking the two that I just.
I was actually leaning towards weather and avalanche myself, but
That makes sense.
give me a second. So you're doing avalanche, you said?
I guess, yeah.
Avalanche, and you said Yeti, right?
Mhm.
Avalanche and Yeti.
Give me just a moment.
What does the Yeti one entail again?
Avoid the territory of Yetis.
Cool.
All right, so we don't need Juniper to decide hers before we can begin. If you would like to go ahead, so we'll start with Isaac.
Okay. Which one do we encounter first?
So I will let you choose which one of the two you would like to solve first.
Let's go with the fake rescue first.
Okay, fake treasure or rescue. So tell me how Isaac helps the party avoid falling into that trap.
Okay, so Isaac and Prongor are here, and both of them are intimately familiar with the sounds of suffering humans. And so, as these spiders are trying to lure us in, both him and Prongor are going to use their perception and insight to identify that those are not real human cries.
Okay, would you prefer to use perception or insight?
Insight.
Okay, you are aided by Prongor for the appropriate use of Prongor's talents, and I will
That's what
hand
I
you
was thinking of.
inspiration for.
I have inspiration already. Can I just
Oh, okay. No, then you don't get it. Right.
That's horrifying.
I'm tapping into his that aspect of Prongor's.
Yeah,
Can I
perfect.
borrow a D20?
That's exactly the kind of thing that I'm hoping for.
It's my other D20 disappeared.
All right, so the DC is DC 16.
Okay. I get it.
All right. So when you guys enter the pass, you begin to hear these sort of howling winds. It sort of narrows in to this claustrophobic tunnel. You can tell that there are many pathways, little goat paths that seem to roll up into the mountains, going infinitely high above you, these sheer walls of ice and stone. You can hear little ticking noises in the distance, almost like the tick of a clock. But Zarafan says that they're the legs of spiders.
I hate spiders.
You can see occasionally above you a net, like the nets they would throw over a marketplace, but you know that it's distant webs connected between the sheer walls of the cavern, or of the pass. And you can see that there are a number of ice serpents crawling around the lower stone. About an hour in, you begin to hear these moaning noises that Isaac and Prongor are going to warn the party away against, saying that they are not real people. And you can tell because of your ample experience dealing with painful moans from... you don't tell everybody that, but that is why you are so in tune with this agony. Those noises continue for several minutes and then seem to die away in the distance. All right, and then Quiet the Angry Dad.
So for that one, Isaac kind of had a two-step plan. The first step was to use the Sin Stone as kind of an indicator to help us steer away and avoid packs of undead.
Excellent. That will give you advantage to whatever you try.
And then if we do encounter any, he's going to use... Hopefully they're lesser enough that you can use Turn Undead to make them run away from the party. So
Okay. So since you are avoiding them using the Sin Stone, I will allow an advantage religion check.
Okay. Uh, 22.
22. All right.
That is a good D20.
After
It'll probably roll all ones for me now.
Maybe.
throughout the journey through the pass, this cold, eerie shadows creep around, and you can feel latent necromantic energies from long ago when it seems like some kind of battle took place in the pass. You see the occasional skeleton or rotted soldier, seemingly fused with the stones of long ago. Isaac, your Sinstone is out, and occasionally its glowing eyes allow you to choose a path through the canyon that does not lead to old war graveyards where that necromantic energy may run wild. This takes place mostly behind the scenes, but you are suggesting paths that lead towards less undead than more, and wind up avoiding them entirely. All right. Who would like to go next?
I guess I'll go next.
All right. So you are avoid the territory of Yetis and avoid avalanche.
Do the Yeti one first with those two, please. I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to deal with the avalanche myself.
Don't have force wall.
Wait, is there...
I was thinking about that one, actually.
Expensive.
So everything's taken right now, right?
Yes.
What other one are you doing? Besides the Yeti?
Tricky path.
Tricky paths.
And
Okay.
And you're doing
Weather and avalanche.
weather and avalanche. Okay.
So if that's the case, then both of you
Okay.
get to solve Yeti together.
Okay, so Yeti, I got an idea.
All right. She was planning to use her stealth, but bring it.
Okay. Because I've got pretty good survival.
Okay.
But also, Roland would most likely have taken a nap at some point on this trip. And I imagine he would be napping. And someone, possibly Euphemia, would say, "Oh my god, what is that smell?"
Okay. Okay.
And I would stir to find you pointing out a huge shit. And upon looking at the huge shit, Roland says, "Okay, everybody's got to stop real quick." He'll get off Shadow.
This isn't going where I was expecting.
Kind of walk around a little bit. Say,
Right.
all right.
Wait, who's pooping here?
The Yetis
Yeti.
are pooping. We got to figure out another way around this.
What is it?
So remember when we were going over all the things to worry about?
Yes.
Did I mention Yetis?
Vaguely.
Okay, we're there.
All right. How big are their territories?
Oh, let's walk around a little bit.
I mean, I'm sure I could scout it out if you have an idea of where to point me.
Well, there's definitely signs of where they are, so we know we've walked into it. But hopefully we can try to figure out like if there's any food nearby or anything like that. And also, everybody needs to shut up.
All right. So here's how this is going to work. Each one of you is going to choose either one of you chooses a skill and the other aids that skill to give you advantage. Or you each choose a separate skill and then you roll separately. One of you rolls first. If they succeed, the other one doesn't have to roll.
I'm saying we do stealth, or you do stealth and I'll do survival. And we'll team up to figure
So
out.
you find the signs, in other words,
Mhm.
and then she can go ahead and scout it out.
If either of you succeed the roll, you will nullify the problem.
Okay.
All right. So who would like to go? I assume survival makes first because
It
it makes the
makes
most sense. So DC 16 survival check to avoid their territory.
I'm going to use this.
Advantage.
Oh, wait. No. 12. Damn it.
What?
May I see the monster manual, please?
What was the DC?
16.
All right. Well,
Roll
let's...
6 and a 2.
All right. So Roland, you guys are going to begin to follow Roland's lead, and he's definitely seems to be on the right path. When you suddenly, above you on the ridge, hear these loud thumping steps and growls. And you're forced at that point to get down and try to hide as they pass. Interrupt.
I'm sorry, I tried. I used my inspiration and everything.
I know you did.
What'd you roll?
Okay, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine because it's stealth, right?
Yes,
So
it's a
it's
stealth
20.
check. 20. All right. Euphemia, you're going to quickly point out several easy hiding spots around the area, and everybody is going to leaving the most claustrophobic, tiniest spot for yourself as you leap underneath a large nearby boulder And you hear up on the ridge a Yeti stop and like lean its horned head over the edge of the cliffside and sniff loudly.
I'm getting ring wraith feelings.
You see the Yeti, you see like a shadow of a rock, like it's gonna like cast a rock down on anybody it sees. And then it's like, you're gonna notice that its foot intentionally knocks off some rubble to scare something away. Like to make it run, so it can like pound it with a boulder, but nobody moves, so they move on.
Okay.
All right.
There's one.
So that is you are through both of your trials, and
What about the avalanche?
No, just our checks or whatever for that.
yeah,
Oh, because since he already did the undead check or whatever, so you or no?
no, I'm just saying that trial's over.
Okay.
You finished it,
I got it.
and now the avalanche, correct?
Got any ideas for the avalanche?
What's the setup for that one, please?
You choose. Literally, there's going to be an avalanche caused by elementals.
That's all?
Yep.
Is it already happening?
Avoid an avalanche caused by elementals.
Okay, so the avalanche is already coming.
Well, it says avoid, so
Are you asking if you can prevent the avalanche from happening?
I'm asking, has the avalanche already happened and we are just going to have to either get out of the way of it, avoid it, or whatnot? Or is it possible to stop the avalanche from happening in the first place?
it is possible to stop it from happening in the first place.
Are earth elementals sentient?
No.
Okay. So they can't be talked to.
I guess they can be communicated with.
I mean, can
But, like, I'd say they're very dumb,
a more powerful elemental intimidate them?
potentially.
Would you say mine is more powerful?
Probably wouldn't be seen as such by a bunch of earth elementals, as
That's
it's a
fair.
wind elemental.
That's fair. Okay. What's the terrain like?
It's a canyon.
We're in a canyon?
Goryal Pass is a canyon
Okay. So where's the avalanche coming from?
above you.
Is it a rock avalanche?
You literally get to choose all this stuff as part of the design.
Oh, so I can make it up?
Yeah, in a way that suits your skill.
Oh, okay.
My athletics are at your disposal if you need them.
Good. You get to gather everybody up and we're going to hide behind Clover.
Really? Oh, okay. I see what you're doing now.
So then what type of skill are you using to do this?
Oh. I don't know. I'm not sure how you'd flavorfully add that. Like, technically it's my friend who's doing it.
So what are you wanting Clover to do?
Well, Clover is immune to bludgeoning damage. And,
Because it goes through him.
oh, is that how that works?
It's a wind elemental.
Well, yeah, I was wondering if he's a whirlwind, so technically, I mean, can't the world, like...
Clover isn't
flavorfully
powerful enough to
off?
hurl rocks with a wind.
Ah, okay.
Oh.
Well, see, I was interpreting this very
See,
differently.
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, see, yeah, I was having this great image of, like, Clover being a whirlwind in front of
And
us.
like all of it going.
All of it flying
More
past.
Clover to be gigantic, and then she'll be strong enough to fling away.
Well, I mean, technically he is.
Gigantic?
Yes.
Oh,
You've never seen Clover.
No.
So on that note, if you pour enough
So-
arcanic energy into Clover, he
Yeah.
could potentially do
So I
that.
was gonna say, I think, can it be Arcana? Because I mean, can I roll Arcana twice? Because this is gonna.
So since you're using Clover, I'll give you a advantage on the roll. So it's going to be an advantage Arcana check.
And did you say that you can't roll the same check twice? Or did I just make that
No,
up?
you just made that up.
Okay.
Definitely made that up.
Good. I'm glad I didn't hear that for real then.
Since he's not going to be rolling Arcana though, because like if both of you were on the same task and you both tried to roll the same thing, normally I'd give one of you advantage. But like if in the case that both of you wanted to roll separate checks, you could also do that as well.
Okay. So we'll jump in. We will hear the earth elementals above us. And I mean, do we really want to play it out, or it's up to you?
Oh,
And say,
I have a great solution to this.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm not working on this task, so this is up to you guys.
Okay.
say you just need me to gather everyone up?
Yeah.
So how it works, in this case, it makes the most sense if your check goes first,
Yes.
because the rocks are falling, and then like you would begin
She goes-
doing the stuff with Clover immediately.
She would call out get the. You would probably be the one who would be best at maneuvering those stupid beetles
Oh, yeah.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she would say, "Get everybody behind the wagon," and then she will maneuver Clover in front of it, jumping off them.
All right, go ahead and roll. DC 16.
Well, thank God I got advantage on that, because that would be a 1. Well over 16.
All right, so go ahead and describe to me what happens here.
Okay, so... Ow. Sorry.
Juice your mount.
Yeah, so when we hear it and we start seeing the rocks come over, June's eyes widen. She will lean down and whisper something to Clover. He will leap ahead, and you will see her jump off. Probably the most nimble you've seen June be for a while. And it seems like the wind is actually helping her. And she will hold her hand out, and then suddenly Clover the donkey will dissolve into a whirling, raging wind elemental that is very large. And you can see that June's magic is trickling into him and making him even bigger and more violent. And so as soon as the rocks start to hit him, they start spinning off in an almost controlled manner, and they start flinging into the walls of the canyon, other sides. And she will scream, "Get behind me!"
Traveling with June is never boring.
She's dramatic.
As that happens, you look up and realize that you didn't really need to take cover per se, but you're all in the cover just in case. As the earth elementals, you hear them up top sort of like pull away from the collapsing landslide that they caused and go somewhere else on the mountain. And the rocks are all hurled far away from the party, and you find yourself safe.
Yay, no avalanche.
Surprised he didn't cause another one.
Yeah.
Like flinging those boulders everywhere.
They were strangely strategic.
Okay.
All right. So,
All right.
you're finished, and it's
you're the
Yuffie.
Oh, okay. So you said for Tricky Pass, basically we kind of were losing our way.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. I'll just make it simple. So they would at some point come across like a rocky, like tall outcropping. She'd like climb, acrobat her way up to the top just to find their path, to be able to see their path ahead.
Okay. So, perception?
Actually, I was thinking acrobatics to get up there, but I guess if you wanted to go perception, I get that too.
Well,
'Cause
the
technically-
acrobatics would just be to get up there, but finding the way is the solution.
Okay. So, yes, perception. And I'm going to use my inspiration.
You already did.
No, she didn't.
I got
You got it back? Oh, okay.
Yeah. Cool. Do you think I'm hoarding inspiration?
Well, I forgot that I took it away from
I have
you.
an extra token too.
Oh, June, gain an inspiration as well. For earlier.
Sure.
Okay. It was literally 12 and a 13.
And then have one.
Yeah, so 21.
21. Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to elaborate just a tiny bit on your tricky paths. So as you're traveling on these narrow cliff walls, right, and you kind of have your path and you know where you're going, suddenly the path that you are on is going to literally peel away from the wall. And you realize that you are, in fact, on the back of some kind of gigantic insect.
Well, that's horrifying. I don't like
That is
it.
going to like cross over and grab onto the lower part of the wall, forming like a new path across the canyonway that doesn't lead where you want it to. And it like slowly maneuvers in the air, and like
Sound
nobody
like it.
wants to walk on it. And you realize that it's like you can't see underneath the path, but it's like a bunch of legs hooked onto
hate
the
this.
wall.
Picture Starship Troopers and
Starship Troopers. Yeah.
And you climb up, and as you do, you're going to find an upper path that's real.
Okay.
And everybody sort of maneuvers themselves onto go back a little bit and like pull up onto this other path.
Are
And
we
then-
off the insect?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Did this end up being a shortcut?
It definitely wound up being less roundabout, yes. So you found your way well. And that's all of your quests. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it is just Juniper with her last one, which
What about fake treasure?
Fake
That
Treasure
was-
was done by Isaac.
Oh, did
the
we
first
already
one.
do it?
It was, yeah.
It was fake treasure
Or
or
rescue.
rescue.
Well, what about the undead then?
Boom.
Also,
He also
did
did that.
Isaac.
Yeah.
Oh, they already done both of them?
Oh yeah.
Apparently, I just
You were
wasn't
still
listening.
trying to-
I
You were
apologize.
figuring things out.
When I was
Remember,
doing
he
that,
used the Sin Stone to find the undead.
When I
No,
was
I have
doing
no
that,
memory of these
Wow.
things.
You
I
were-
wasn't
You were
listening.
trying to figure out Avalanche.
you were like doing focus notes.
I was
right,
reading
when I was
crap,
doing
I
that.
think. Okay.
Gotcha.
Sorry for not paying attention to your coolness.
It's
My bad.
I mean, it was really just like outsmarted the situations.
All right.
It was
So
really
what was
just
your
like,
last
no,
one?
we don't do that instead.
We don't.
It's like,
Yep.
We're okay.
Okay, so
Ignore the cries.
The weather
of
one
suffering.
is simply that the weather just suddenly
Even if
changes
they
and
weren't
is
people,
really
Isaac
cold.
would be like,
The weather turns.
It's not-
the
they're not real.
survive weather that turns harsh and freezing suddenly.
How widespread?
A large area.
Okay.
like large enough that we could just sprint out of it easily. Okay.
Right.
Isaac doesn't care. He's immune to cold.
But
Resistance is not immunity.
Yeah.
If you freeze in a block of ice, it's not going to be okay.
Yeah, that would suck.
Well, unfortunately, I have a slight problem with one of my solutions for this, is that it would just get sucked into my friend over here. So
Gotcha. Okay. Clover's just solving everything today.
No, wrong friend.
Oh, I don't know who you're talking about.
Rafe. What?
What?
I have something that would have worked, but unfortunately,
Doesn't involve
he would
radiant
absorb
energy.
it. Yes, it does.
Got it.
would
Okay.
just
Well,
absorb
go
it.
ahead with whatever solution you want to go with.
all right,
Is
well,
that involuntary? Him just like absorbing it like a sponge?
I'm assuming so.
What?
light of heaven or
If
Oh
there's
no, he
radiant-
controls it.
Okay.
Oh, okay. In which case, then June will say, "Please don't absorb this right now," and I will pull out my lantern and use the light of heaven on all of us to keep us warm. That works that way, right?
What do you mean by lantern? You don't have a lantern.
Yes, I do.
It's a necklace.
Yes, but it's technically a lantern.
I mean, it doesn't make enough warmth in order to keep people warm, for sure. It's like a tiny piece.
okay, we had very different visions of what this was originally.
Just set the wagon on fire. It's fine.
Oh my god.
You don't need Failer, right? Well, honestly, I think we'd probably just say we gather. How long is it supposed to last? Can we see?
You don't know. Suddenly
Actually,
freezing.
you know what? I can see. I look at Tribute to see how widespread the weather is and how it looks like the
there you
pattern
go.
it's going.
Okay.
So I determine that first, and then I'm going to roll. Depending on how long it is, I will roll a Arcana check just to use spells to warm the group.
Okay. Go ahead
Should I
and
roll a luck roll or something to see how long it's going to take?
no. As you look down at your robe, you see a easternly front coming along the whole of the sky range. It looks like it's going to pass in about an hour, but it is going to be a flash freeze as you seek to use your spellcraft to warm the stones of a nearby cave entrance to keep the cold out. Go ahead and roll an Arcana check.
Don't let us breathe.
Yeah, succeed.
All right.
Weirdly enough, the exact same roll as last time.
Damn, you guys are just killing it. All right. As you
24, not 26 though.
Aww.
But the last one was a 24 as well when we rolled together.
all right, with spellcraft warming the party, the flash freeze will pass. And as you finally exit, you realize that you are only a matter of maybe an hour or so from the other end of the Goryal Pass. As the group, after 2 days' journey, travels out of the pass, you see before you the great rolling hills of the Doomridge. And we will call the session there for the time being, Noble Heroes. Thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. Please give us a like and a subscribe if you enjoyed our content. And remember, do try this at home.